Interesting. There we go. Thank you, Kathy. So the dates, June 1st to September 8th. September 8th is when the final reporting is due. Now, we had this question. We hosted an orientation for our host sites earlier today, and they asked if it's at all possible to start before June 1st. And every summer we have that, and that has occurred, but that's only if it works out for both the host site and for the externs. So we'll talk more about that later, but I want to just make you aware of that. So 200 hours throughout the summer, you will work with your site host to figure out what your schedule is going to be. I can tell you it runs a gamut. We've had some externs work 10-hour days and be done in 4 weeks. We've had them work 5 8-hours and be done in 5 weeks. We've had them work 2 days a week and spread them out all summer. So there really is a lot of flexibility, and our hosts have been very good at being accommodating. They know you have family vacations. Some of you will be attending iSTEM as part of this program, which also is on the slide ahead of you. So that is something that you'll work out with your host site. The free iSTEM opportunity, you probably received an email from Katie Bosch-Wilson on our team within the last couple of days explaining that to you. Just want to put in a plug for that program. Those of you that haven't participated, iSTEM is a great professional development opportunity and typically costs $50, but as part of your participation in this program, it is paid for by the grant thanks to Micron. The idea is for you to gain valuable industry experience. Most of you, or as is typical, educators typically go from high school to college back into the classroom without having a lot of significant industry experience, even though you guys are asked more and more to help your students understand what those career pathways could be. And so the whole purpose of this program is to help you get a better appreciation for what the world of work is like and what they are looking for. And then so you can bring those experiences back to your students, whether that is as a classroom teacher or a college career counselor. Could you please go to the next slide, Hallie? Paperwork, Steph, I'll turn it over to you.
Hi, so yeah, you'll have a couple things that you'll need to submit. One is the sponsorship agreement and the W-9, and these are required before you start and before you can get paid. So and the proposed daily work schedules, and that is just so that we need those before you start so that John and or Hallie can schedule visits. So you can move forward, please. So this is what well, that's the wrong one, but go back. So you'll have something that's similar to this, but it's actually a sponsorship. It's not a contract. So it will have what your scope of work is in terms of payment, and we will reimburse for some expenses on travel. So that's something that we will discuss when the time comes. And then you don't need to worry about the term of agreement or the acknowledgement of House Bill 220. Those aren't on the new sponsorship agreement. You will receive a email from me with the sponsorship agreement and the W-9 through Adobe Sign. And so you'll sign it. And then once you sign it, it will come automatically back to me. You don't need to download it or send it back to me in an email. It will automatically come back to me once you have signed it. Next page, please. And this is the W-9 form. If you have already filled out a W-9 for the state of Idaho or for us at any time in the last year or whatever, you do not need to fill this out again. The only exception is if you have moved or if your name has changed. So if you've already filled one out and you've sent it to us, no need to fill it out again. If you haven't, then you will need to fill it out. And again, that will also come with your agreement. So you may get one just because I don't know if you've signed it or you filled one out already or not, because there's a lot of you this year. So if you get one, just fill it out. If you don't worry about it. So next. And then so this year you no longer need to submit an invoice. As soon as you submit your interim and or final report, that will prompt us to submit your payment. So Crispin, you know a little bit more about this than I do. So it's on one of your you'll have to do something on your report. Crispin?
Right, there will just be a section on your interim and final reports where you will input an electronic signature as an acknowledgement that you've met the requirements for whichever reporting period you are up to at that point.
And that's all I have for my section. Do you guys have any questions on those? So,
Just to give a little background on that last slide that Steph was talking about, some of you are returning and have served a number of externships for us. And we became aware that after two, when you hit the $10,000 limit, that we can't exceed that. So we've switched these over from you being subcontractors to being fulfilling sponsorship agreements with us. So that's why there's the change for the you veterans that are coming back for a second or third time. Next slide, please, Hallie. Steph, you want to talk about the schedule at all, or?
yeah, and I can, this is just for you to fill out and send to, you'll send it to Hallie and she will, this is so that they know what your work schedule is so that they can schedule site visits. So please submit this along with, well, it used to be, I used to send it out with the agreement, but it will probably come separately. So look for two different emails, one from Adobe sign and one from myself or Hallie on this piece. Okay.
Hey, so I have a question. I'm a returner. This is my third year. And as far as setting money aside for taxes, does it tax the same?
Yes. So you're
Does it tax the same? That's a question.
yeah, you'll still be tax saved. It'll be a 1099 that you'll get from the state controller's office. So
Thanks, Steph.
yeah.
Definitely, there's a question in the chat, or maybe John, wondering if the externs will get electronic copies of the documents.
Yeah, so once it's been finally signed by myself or Katie Solis, the director, you will automatically get a link back to the final fully executed copy, and then you'll have a copy of the agreement. So, yep.
Okay, next slide, please, Hallie.
I can talk about this too. This is the externship checklist that I had created. Please use it. It's really helpful on what steps to do next so that you don't forget any. This is available on the website. And so you don't have to use it. It's not required. You don't have to submit it. It's just a helpful tool for you to know what you need to do next and who you can contact if you have questions. So it's just a helpful tool to utilize. Again, it's on the externship webpage.
Next slide, please, Hallie. So once you accept a position with one of the host sites, please get their name, email address, and work phone number. We're working with those businesses now, but the actual person that will be your mentor may be different than the person that was at our orientation earlier. So once that is determined who that person is, please provide this information to us so we have that for our records. It'll help us going forward, especially when we get down to the point of our site visits. Hallie, next one, please. Crispin, is this you?
Sure. So part of the work, especially if you are going for credit, is my understanding, is that you will take some of your experience and put it into a potential lesson or activity plan template. And a lot of you have probably seen this before, the 5E model here to help you organize your thoughts and translate your externship experience into your classroom once you get back there. And so then on the next slide, if I remember correctly, this is, we do have final reports that are the interim and the final report that you will complete after your first and second 100 hours of your externship. And There are prompts in here that are kind of aligned with that 5E model, as well as opportunities for you to reflect and organize your thoughts, and then look back at the end of the summer to remember what you did and how you might be able to bring that back to your classroom. Some of this, the requirements of these reports include an on-the-job photo, as long as you are able to get one with the permission of your host site, not photographing trade secrets or anything like that. You'll also be working with John and Hallie to schedule your site visits to help us get another dimension of information about your visits. And then your interim report, these are, I might recommend filling in sort of weekly, depending on how you pace your work out, just to help keep all of your thoughts in order and prevent you from needing to reach back into the recesses of your mind after a couple weeks of work to really remember all that you've been doing. On our website, on our apply page, are also these links to instructions for completing that report. Many of you have already completed reports in the past, but this is just a log into your account, access your original application, and the report should be available there. We are currently updating that report, so it will be fairly similar to how it was in past years, but may have one or two elements that are different. And then later on, we will follow up as well with another survey just to help us understand better how your experience over the summer has impacted your practice in the fall.
Thank you, Chris. One thing I'd like to add regarding the blog, if you want to go to the website, to the externship webpage, you can see blogs from the years past to give you an idea. Typically, they're 1 to 2 paragraphs talking about what you're doing, what you're learning, how you're going to use it in your classroom. And if you want to refer to any of those previous blogs to get a better idea, we've got 4 years of them there. Okay, you need to think for the first time this year, we have these credits that are being paid for out of the grant, 3 credits. If you are going to do that, as Crispin mentioned, you'll provide a lesson plan. For those of you that are career counselors, that will look a little bit different. If you have any questions on how to do that, just let me know. I can walk you through that. We want to give you the flexibility to produce something that's actually going to be useful, not feel like you're just having to do some paperwork to fulfill a requirement. And then we also have the syllabus that's been updated, and that would have to be, we'll have a reporting date that will be with your final report. You'll submit your lesson plans, and then that class will transcribe at the end of the fall semester, which will be in December. Next slide, please, Hallie. And here are the 2 contacts. Hallie and I will be your primary contacts for this program. And here's our email addresses. Hallie will send out this PowerPoint to all of you, and then we will post the video of this presentation on the website. We'll also send out that link hopefully by tomorrow, so it'll be available if you want to refer back to it. Next. Before we get to questions, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the timeline, what's going to happen now. On the rest of this week, we're going to be reaching out, as I mentioned earlier, to get some more externs in areas where we need more. And then starting next Monday, your resumes are going to be sent out to a variety of businesses based on what your current skills are, what your desires are in terms of what you would like to learn, and then what the host sites are looking for in terms of skills and so forth. So in those areas that are more populated, like the Treasure Valley or in the Idaho Falls area, your resume may go out to 3 to 5 different employers. If you're in a more remote area with fewer host sites, perhaps only 1 or 2. Having said that, there are a number of positions that are available that will be remote or hybrid, so that we are able to place all of you. The other option too, through the grant, a couple of you mentioned that you'd be willing to possibly relocate, and we also have funds available to help with travel if it's beyond what would normally be a reasonable distance. Steph, I think, is it 50 miles state guideline? Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, so those are other options. I mean, the idea is we're trying to get you to get the best matches possible and to make that available. So resumes will go out. We've instructed our host sites to start interviewing immediately. And so you'll be getting calls or potentially emails from these host sites. Just be aware of that. You'll be getting maybe some phone calls from numbers you don't necessarily recognize. And they have a 2-week window. Our goal is to have all of the positions accepted by the 14th of April. That gives us 2 weeks then to set up workers' comp for all of you, and then to get you communicating with your host sites. So that's kind of the timeline for the next few weeks, just to give you a heads up. Any questions that we can answer? Let's see what's going on in the chat. Oh, oh, thank you, Steph. We'll make sure when that gets sent out, people will get that. Anybody have any questions? Either chime in or drop them in the chat.
No questions in the chat right now.
Well, great. That means
Everything's covered by good job. Oh, here's one. Will we keep track and send to you a communication with the STEM partners? So
if you mean the host sites,
Hester, do you want to come off of mute and ask?
yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I was trying to type fast and I couldn't.
That's all right.
I'm just wondering, I'm one who I have my host site already. And we have been in contact. Is there, I mean, is part of this me keeping track of the emails that we send back and forth or meetings, or is no tracking of that stuff?
Yeah, that's not necessary. Don't worry about that, Hester. That's between you and your host site. Other questions? All right. If you have any after this meeting, oh, one came in.
What type of work should we expect? All types.
Yeah. That's, you know, if you're at Micron, you could be doing even all types at Microns, from, you know, coding to HR to, I mean, anything that involves STEM skills. We have nurseries, Forest Service, engineering firms, banks. It's really runs the gamut. We have channel CBS Channel 2. Last time they hosted, the Extern worked doing weather broadcasts. I mean, you just never know what it's going to be. We talked today with our host sites about giving you as broad an experience as possible so that you're not stuck doing one thing the whole time, because of course, the richer your experience is, the better you're going to be able to work with your students. And so really go through those blogs. We'll give you a really great idea of what people have done in the years past.
Hey, John, can I speak to that? Just,
Yeah.
I only had 2 sites, but I come back every year because this is one of my favorite things to do. So my first year I was at Bayshore Systems, which is a drilling company in Rathdrum. I don't know if they're taking candidates this year, but if they are, it is so awesome. And I did everything. I worked in marketing, I worked in engineering. They showed me how to paint. I mean, they literally build drill rigs from the ground up. And then I learned how to use all of the audio equipment to like video record their employees for marketing. Anyways, and they talked about the STEM jobs that they do at Bayshore. So I could take that back to my students. So that was super fun. And then the second year I worked at Gizmo Coeur d'Alene. So that balloon launch, which is up in the north, is actually the curriculum that another gal and I wrote last year. But I also got to do all of their summer camps and all of their, like, I just got to do so many things. And it was super fun on both accounts, like completely different, but super fun. So if you're feeling like you're going to get a host site and you're like, man, I don't know about this, do it anyways, because they're like, I cannot speak enough about how much I've learned and got to do through the STEM program in the summer.
Thank you for sharing that, Michelle. Glad to have you back, by the way. Kathy,
Might I take, yeah.
go ahead.
I was going to just mention the program Idaho Connect, and there might be some educators that have already used the Next Steps Idaho Connections. It's going to be renamed, and part of the innovation grant that Micron was honored to receive will also provide licenses for any schoolhouse that has grades 9 through 12 to have a license. There still will be the opportunity for other schools to receive funding through general support to get licenses aside from the high school. But anyone that is at a host site that is a high school teacher or counselor, we really will encourage you to set up a relationship so that the host site can share with your schools on the new Idaho Connect platform. And the license is basically paying for the school to have unlimited access to the platform, which the company is called Pathful, but it's all incorporated into the state of Idaho Next Steps website, and it's going to be renamed Idaho Connect. More to come on that.
Other questions or comments? Well, if you do have one afterwards, feel free to reach out to Hallie or myself. Happy to answer that anytime. Again, resumes go out Monday, and be expecting some calls. Once you accept a position, get the contact information from your mentor and report that to us. And then we can communicate with you directly about next steps. So thank you all for joining. Have a great rest of your week.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, John,
Right.
it's Michelle again.
Yeah, hey, Michelle.
Hey, so I want to go back to Gizmo really badly, but I'm about to have surgery. So I did request remote, and I'm hoping that happens. Is there a way to, like, I don't know if I'm having my tonsils removed because I'm having some serious immune system issues. And I think I have a tumor on my pancreas. So going into a site could potentially be challenging. Like, I can work from home, no problem, but I can't, like, getting sick is the problem. So would I be allowed to have a remote placement?
Yeah, I don't know that it would be at Gizmo because they really need people hands-on on site, as you know.
Oh yeah, I know it wouldn't be at Gizmo. I already told them. I am
Yeah.
gonna go do their balloon launch with them though.
But I know INL and Micron both have virtual options. We have several others that have said they will offer virtual placements too. So I'll make sure that Hallie has that in her file so that
Okay.
we'll send those resumes to places that can allow you to serve virtually.
Perfect. Yeah, because I mean, I would love to go back to Gizmo, and I was just there, so I just chatted with them, and they're like, "You're coming back, right?" And I was like, "I don't think my immune system can do it because I'm having surgery like April 5th, and it's like 6 to 10 weeks for adults, I guess. I'm too
Wow.
old to have my tonsils out."
Gosh, yes.
So, anyways, okay. Well, I would super appreciate that. And then I know you and I had chatted about potentially recruiting. So if you are needing assistance in that way, please let me know because I would be happy to whatever you need.
Okay. Thanks, Michelle. Take care of yourself too.
Yes, thank you, John. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.